Welcome back again. Today we will have a topic about two animals, creatures, if you will. Very cool, interesting, and unique creatures. But before I get started, I officially soundproof my room, which is why I'm here recording again. Well, did you expect it? Of course not. Regardless, we are here back in front of you. Now, let's get into the topic at hand. Two creatures, a rat and a snake. Wow, what do they have in common? Well, they're both very smart creatures and are very successful in this world. But let's go into what they're all about. A rat, a snake. Which one shall I start talking about? Let's start with the more lethal one, a snake. A snake, what does it do? What do we know about it? It wants to latch on, devour you alive for your nutrients, slowly swallowing you whole. That is a rat, a rather gluttonous creature. Now, let's get more detail about them. They are very elusive predators. They'll sneak up on you, slowly maybe poison you, bite you a quick nibble, and let you die on your own, only to eventually latch on to you a very tiny bite that will eventually slowly encroach its throat, its mouth, all around you until you're completely inside of it. You're still alive while this happens, but slowly it robs you away of your senses, slowly controlling you, swallowing you whole until there's nothing left of you and you're all but inside of him, and you are now a part of the snake. That's a snake, a very dangerous creature. Once it gets a hold of you, you more likely cannot escape from its grasp. Let's relate it now to the main topic of today, symbolism over. What does a snake sound like to you? Is there a person in your life that is very similarly characteristic to a snake? Whether it be a controlling boyfriend, partner, or anything else that you can relate to. A snake controls all, devours all for its own greed. Let's give some primary examples of what it does, or who they are. Let's start giving some names. Donald J. Trump, a very dangerous snake, if you will. He will do whatever it takes to get his goal. Now, he is very evil, but whether it does for others, it's most likely for his own gain and worth. There has recently been some light shed on what he has done. Voidzilla, a very important name, and that needs to be brought up because something about cryptocurrency was abused. What was it? Binance, some industry, whatever, was pardoned by Trump because he used Bitcoin or cryptocurrency to raise his own net worth with his supposed market trading and very uncontrollable stock. But regardless, Donald Trump, I would equate to a snake because right now he's doing whatever it takes to latch his fangs in everything he does and make it a part of him and his worth. whether it be the ballroom he's trying to do. He's trying to get all his bangs into whatever it wants. Now, to be clear, there is also another trait to a snake that you aren't aware of. One, the prey does not flee. The prey accepts what it takes. And honestly, some people, very many people, are into the kink of a snake swallowing itself or swallowing you alive whole until your goal is the same as the snake's goal. Well, hope you liked that idea of what a snake is, because that's a very prime example. But this isn't a video about just snakes. It's a video about one other, a very beautiful other, I may add, a rat. But, well, you can tell this is a very, very weird video. It started off more about creatures, and then it started developing into whatever this is. Surprise, surprise, it's not very wholesome. Well, so what do you think the next one will be? What person, what character or person do you think it is? Well, let's start off with what a rat is. Just like before, introductions. A rat. Its characteristics are little whiskers, soft body, very tiny creature, long tail, fluffy ears, and honestly, kind of cute. They're harmless, if you will. But it's not their characteristics that we need to look at. It's their qualities. A rat will do whatever it takes to survive another day. It may look all prim and innocent and bare bones, but if you look past all of that, what do? They feast on your food, your money, your house. They hide in your walls and live rent-free in your home, your head, or whatever they do. They make sure to always get a meal for themselves, to hoard for another day, to grow their population. That is a rat. Very, very, very plague-like. What do you say? Rats hoard. There are always more of them. You can't weed them out. Even if you exterminate them, they'll survive in another person's house, only to eventually show up another month later to do the same thing again, all under your nose, until eventually they get so good at it to where you're fully blind to whatever they do, and you let them survive a little longer or forever under your guise. Or maybe you decide, oh, they're cute, let's live with them. Well, that's a rat. Bare bones. They love food. They're cute. And, well, depending on what you think is cute, but I think they're cute. And honestly, I love rats. Both humans, rats, and rats in general. They're cute. But let's talk about something else instead. Let's start giving a character, a name, a person who is a rat. Now, for clarity here, because it needs to be said, I want no hate towards these individuals, because they exist, and honestly, they're people. You shouldn't harm people. And first off, the one I'm about to say is a person I like, and I think they can do better, because rats, as nimble and weak as they are very susceptible to what we do to them. So remember, even though you may harm the rats, they are very, very weak. So please, no harm toward the rats. But, let's talk about, let's give a name. But before that, I like this person. I think they're attractive. I think they're cool. Their takes are a little strange, but I please see the better of them. But the name I wish to say, as much as it pains me to say it, because he's acting like one, it is Hasanabi. Now hold on, before you look away and not listen anymore. 1. You are rude for saying Hassan. His name is Hasanabi. And 2, you're not friends with him. You are but a watcher, a viewer. So, don't disrespect Hasanabi. Now, this person is under a lot of fire. A lot of fire for his shock collar incident. But let me just play the devil's advocate here. Hasanabi was taught to use a shock collar. He could have done other methods. Maybe he hit his dog, but I think in his mind he thought hitting was far worse than shocking, or more like he chooses to shock because he doesn't want to physically harm the dog. Maybe he has, but a shock is more emotional pain, or it's more effective, but it's a lot of emotional pain towards the dog, and it hurts so bad. But remember, you can't just hate someone. Our rats will do whatever it takes to survive. So, as painful as it is to shock your dog, remember, Hasanabi is meek and weak, just like us. He's learning. He shocked his dog to train it, and honestly, he got a little out of control. He started shocking it to keep it in his bed, or doing more, training it to do whatever it wanted to do. Obviously, the dog was very scared, even if it didn't shock him. He was scared of the collar. Maybe he just poked his neck, or more. But remember, he is still learning. These influencers are not very smart. They're very dumb, but also very prideful, and we don't want to admit when we're wrong. So, always they see things in a different light. Let's say, his ideas are also, you may not agree with them. He's very crazy in a sense, but if you watch his streams, he's a bit more of a reasonable person. Although he is very one-sided in what he believes in, but it's really hard to defend someone who is a rat, because 1, you'll get under attack. But before I get started, before I go any further, let me tell you about the dangers of Hassan. Yes, you hate him. 2, he's influential. 3, there's very many supporters about him. And 4, he might have influenced a bunch of events that happened from Hassan. Because a lot of stuff he says are very, very harmful. Like, clipped out of context stuff of killing someone, but regardless, even if it's out of context, he still said it. And people listening to him can't take that at face value. But I'm defending him too much. But remember, he was taught wrong to shock his dog. He was taught wrong to support a marginalized. No, he made his decisions. He said, let's just talk about the dangers he has on the people in our world. Assad can convince people to do crime. He can convince people to do protests. He can convince people to do very dangerous things. And he has. It's a fact. And Twitch is supporting him above all else. Because 1, maybe he's right. 2, they love him. And 3, he's not doing anything illegal. But that's where things need to change. Because if someone else exhibited the same qualities as Hassan, they would be shut down immediately. But he is not. Why? For many reasons. And I'm sure his haters will know them and state them for you. But I do not wish to put hate on these individuals that I said. I am only here to shed light on all these characters in our world. Because 1, I think more often than not, all of them are beautiful. Because they are to be honest, cornerstones of our life. They make up our world more than your magnus in this world. And they lead us, well, whether we want them to or not. They lead a lot of people. So even if you hate them, even if you despise them, they are more in control of their life and the world they live in than you are. Although I have no idea who is watching, so maybe you could make a difference, but you're not. But if not, if you're an avid enjoyer of random me talking about random topics, well, I like you because always thinking, always enjoying the life we live in is way better than hating everything. And all I wish is for awareness and more people to be awake in this world, because not being aware is a mortal enemy, because then you decide that life is not worth living. I think life is beautiful because look at all of what's going around you. So many people are trying to make what? Life worse, life better, or for their own life. Why not play in this game called life? It's rather unique and honestly very, very hard, impossible level of difficulty. So, awareness is important. No goals, no objectives, just simple awareness. So, you're welcome. Now, before I leave this video here, I wish to run a poll on which one do you think is worse. I'll run this poll for every video, hopefully. Who knows what topics I'll cover. And clearly, this poll is about which side is worse. Which one do you not like? Which one do you think is more dangerous in our world? That's not a fun game to play. So, do you think the snake or the rats? is the most dangerous one? Which one? Now, let's describe them real quick for you to help you make your choice. A rat will latch onto you, chase you, run you dry, poison you, scare you, and slowly devour you alive little by little for its own personal gain and worth until you are assimilated or part of it. Ouroboros, if you will. Or is it the other? A rat that will continue to survive for another day, whatever its goal is. It's only focused on survival, and it's spread more of itself, a horde, a plague of like-minded rats. A rat will constantly try to live for another day, ignoring the qualities of it. Whatever it wants, whatever it greeds for, it will get, and you will be none the wiser, because you forget about it. It's very tiny in your side, but eventually the rat will become more than you, and eventually its house, it's your house, is now his house. That is rat. Now, then I describe the two. Which one do you think is which one do you think is worse? In your head, which one? The snake or the rats? The rent-free in your head rat or the slimy, greedy, gluttonous snake? Well, your choices are locked. If you chose, voting ends here. In your head, if you thought the snake is worse, well, you would be right. Because the snake is dangerous. In your life, maybe there's a snake. Maybe you've thought of a person who is a snake in your life that's affected you harshly and controlled you all your life to where you can't make any decisions and you're stuck hell-bent on running away. But maybe you like them. Maybe you're stuck in their clutches and you can't escape any further. And the snake has already devoured you whole, and there's no more escape for you. So you live with it, cohabitate, if you will. Did you think it ended there? No, if you thought rats, you are also right. A rat is very dangerous. Maybe you thought of one living in your house. Maybe you thought of a roommate, a tenant, or a friend who constantly latches onto your stories, constantly trying to edge on fights, make you on his side, make you cook food for them, buy stuff for them. Maybe you live with them, maybe you let them live with you, but they provide no gain for yourself. They constantly make your life harder, but you trust them to get better. Or you believe in them, or you fell for their guise, their misled beliefs, and eventually you decide the rat is not worth your problem, not your goal, and that is scary, very scary, because eventually the rat convinces you to do whatever it so well pleases, just like the snake. If you answer, yeah, it was a trick question. They're both dangerous. Both very, very dangerous. And you're both right, because in your life, one may be way more dangerous than the other. And one may have affected your life more than the other. In fact, you see these qualities inhibited in everyone. But remember, snake or rat, people are not animals. This is just an example of the qualities of people and how they display them. And these people, I won't say their names again, exhibit qualities of rats and snakes that are not acceptable for human life. So, hope you enjoyed the video, my rants for the day. But before I leave, obviously there's one more person who hasn't answered the question. Do I have someone I think is worse? Well, I'll leave you to think about it. 'Cause in my mind, I think everything is beautiful and I love it all. But little old sinner me definitely thought that one side is worse than the other. But honestly, I'm not entirely sure because I love both snakes and rats alike. And I think they're very harmful both and beneficial to society. But I did think one was way worse than the other. I'll leave you thinking, but also don't harm these people. All I ask is for awareness. And awareness is good. Love life, because it's all we have. Alright, I'll see you later. What's the phrase that I said? Yes. Shy Sue out. Love ya. Toodles.